Hello, welcome to this update for the Western Pacific. So let's see what's happening. There's still Tropical Storm Bulasan and Tropical Depression Solik. So Bulasan might try to affect China as a weak tropical storm, but the main threat is Tropical Depression Solik. They're over Laos, Vietnam, because it's dumping some tremendous amounts of rainfall in Laos and Thailand and also Vietnam, but it didn't become like a tropical storm. It shows only a depression here, but all the flooding it might bring is the main problem. There's also the storm near China there, and it might once again affect parts of Shanghai. So especially like Zhoushan there and some areas just south of Shanghai might get like a tropical storm. So please be aware there. And here you can see the tropical depression there in Vietnam, and it might eventually go towards Thailand and dissipate there. And there's the one in China there. Let's see. It shows it going, hitting like China and then curving again and heading towards Japan, but by that point it will be like extra tropical. It will merge with a front there and bring some tremendous amounts of rainfall to parts of Japan too, but not nearly as much as what this is bringing towards Laos. So let's see. You can see there now some very robust precipitation, a lot of storms around central Laos and Vietnam, and let's see, shows it continuing there throughout central Vietnam and Laos, eventually to northern Thailand as well. And then so today's like Thursday night, shows already some storms in Thailand, but mainly starting Friday. Tomorrow the storms in Thailand continuing to northern Laos, also into Friday night and Saturday. And then still some many scattered storms around Thailand, Myanmar, and Cambodia by Saturday, and still some stuff there. Eventually this system gets more strength in Myanmar and goes towards the Bay of Bengal and Bangladesh and becomes another big troublemaker for India and Bangladesh on Sunday. So we'll have to watch that. But now let's focus on this storm there. Just in the next one day and a half, the European model shows like more than 275 millimeters in parts of Vietnam and Laos. Right between Vietnam and Laos, they're like central Vietnam and central Laos, like 239 millimeters along the coast, 170 millimeters, 139 millimeters. So in other parts further south, so like 184 millimeters, they're in central Laos. So please be careful. And then in the next 2 days, already shows that between Vietnam and Laos, like 240, 294 millimeters. So please be careful there. 204 millimeters. So this will be very problematic. Shows like 231 millimeters. So be careful. Then the next 3 days, it shows it keeps lingering there. More than 400 millimeters. The European model is showing 406 millimeters, 430 millimeters. So this will bring some tremendous amounts of flooding because the ground will even be more saturated and everything. So 250 millimeters, 268 millimeters, other parts of central Laos. So please be careful with landslides, flash flooding and all types of flooding, river flooding and everything. Northeastern Thailand show like 180 millimeters, 144 millimeters. And then the next 5 days shows like 355 millimeters in Laos, 157. A good portion of northern and central Laos, mainly central Laos. Northern Laos is kind of fine, but central Laos like 180 millimeters, 233. And then that single point there shows like 509 millimeters the 5-day total. So this will be completely insane. And then it shows it keeps going through northern Thailand. Still at northern Thailand, 190 millimeters, 160 millimeters, so be aware there. More intense storms, so this keeps going. Northern Vietnam is also showing a lot, like 160 millimeters, so be careful there. Eventually into Myanmar, central southern Myanmar, 178 millimeters, 140 millimeters, so please be careful there. This is the European model. The GFS has a little bit further south towards to the rainfall, but it also has like 600 millimeters, so the GFS has gone pretty insane, like 619 millimeters, 560 millimeters, so this would cause unimaginable flooding. And further south, 200 millimeters, 168, 300 millimeters, so that will be very, very dangerous. But the GFS has some different ideas. It has like the system lingering there around the coast of Vietnam, going towards central Laos, but kind of lingering there still. So, but then eventually it has like more moisture in the South China Sea and more stuff affecting Vietnam on the 22nd. So if the 5 days are like until Monday, the GFS has another system affecting that same area on Sunday. So the Europeans not showing that. So we will have to keep watching. The icon has all that rain there, and then it keeps going through Vietnam, central Laos, and some in Thailand too. And then also has more moisture building on the Bay of Bengal, and has that very heavy rain continuing in northern Vietnam all the way until Sunday, the 22nd. Another low pressure getting going on late Sunday into Monday, and going through Hainan there again into China. So we better watch this as well. The icon has in the next 4.5, 5 days more than 500 millimeters in a very similar spot to the European. So the icons like thinking with the European 400 millimeters, other areas 300, 200. So be careful. This will be extremely dangerous flooding there. And then it has more parts of Thailand, 160. Let's see, 115 millimeters. Myanmar as well, southern Myanmar, more than 100 millimeters in a big area. So more intense storms, be careful. And let's see, the coastal Cambodia, southern Thailand could have some more heavy rain as well. Throughout Cambodia, expect more storms, some storms in southern Vietnam as well. And we have that moisture in the Bay of Bengal, a lot of showers and storms affecting the Andaman in Nicobar Islands and southern Myanmar. So it shows there like more rain storms the next few days in those areas, so be aware as well. In India, it's kind of central India, expect more rain, and eastern India in the next 5 days, but nothing crazy for now. Just some areas of 175 millimeters or more, some more intense storms there, but nothing crazy. But all that accumulation most of it might be in the form of thunderstorms, so be careful. And let's see, the GFS has a similar thing, but more like south central India there, and the icon has like a similar thing as well, so be aware. Bangladesh shows in the next 5 days like 76 millimeters, some more storms in some areas, so be aware. Northeastern India has some spots more too, might be some more heavy rains. And then as this system from Myanmar goes towards the Bay of Bengal, it's already showing like in the next 8 days more than 100, 200 millimeters in northeastern India, 170 millimeters as this system there from Laos and Vietnam goes towards Myanmar and those areas. And the European showing like more than 400 millimeters in western India too the next 8 days. The GFS in the next 8 days has everything like further south to central India and southern Myanmar. So we'll keep watching this. But for now, just warn others and stay safe there in Laos and Vietnam. And if you're watching from there and you don't understand English, so I translated the event here to Laos, so you can pause to read if you want, and also to Vietnamese. Pause and take a look if you want, or share with the others you know there, and also to Thai here if you don't understand English. So stay safe and warn others there. So now we have all the moisture in the Western Pacific. It shows it's still around the Philippines there and Taiwan. That big front, like that system going through South Korea, that tropical storm in China might go for like North and South Korea, shows some very heavy rain there. Then it becomes that big front and goes towards Japan. So this would be a problem for Japan. It shows like some very heavy precipitation starting Saturday in many parts of northern, eventually Sunday in southern Japan. So please be aware there. And then let's see. And then we have the moisture building the South China Sea. Shows more rain around Taiwan and southeastern China late this week into next weekend. So we have to watch those areas as well. So as it shows here on the GFS, it shows the system in Vietnam there. More moisture building around the Philippines. Eventually might try to form something near China and Taiwan. And it shows more stuff trying to head towards Japan later. And then let's see, but like non-tropical. And then later quiets down a little bit, but we still have scattered showers and storms. And the Canadian has like the stuff there, that moisture around the northern Philippines and Taiwan, eventually trying to go again towards Japan or China, and basically that. So be careful there. And let's see, for now we don't have any more invests, but we might get some in the next few days. But for now, just in the next like 5 days, the European model has around Taiwan more than 100 millimeters in some areas, 136, 155 millimeters, especially some provinces of easternmost China, Pingtung and some areas, 300, 200 millimeters. So be careful, there'll be a lot of moisture and heavy storms lingering in those areas next few days, especially on the weekend, like 197 millimeters throughout most of southeastern China on the coast, 170 millimeters. Let's see, even in Hong Kong, 181 millimeters in Hong Kong. So be aware there, 181 other areas, more in parts of Hainan. So yeah, be careful. And then from this system in Japan, the European has more than 200 millimeters in mainly the western coast of Japan will be more hit, the western shores there. So please be careful in the western coast there, like 200 millimeters, more than 200, 215, might be some flooding from this, 236 millimeters. Let's see, 190, 175, so be aware. In Tokyo has only 27 millimeters, but it might be heavy in some areas further south, especially like if I put this to next 8 days. Alright, it shows like more moisture on the eastern part of Japan the next 8 days, but that's still uncertain, kind of far out. The GFS on the next 5 days has more in southern Japan, like 300 millimeters in southern Japan, 200, let's see, 229 millimeters, 190. So please be careful there. But it also has some on the western coast there, like the European. In Osaka, coast 100 millimeters in other areas there. And the icon has like something very weird. It has like the European, a bunch of rain on the western coast there, more than 100, 200 millimeters, but has a very few rain in the central part of Japan there. So be careful. And let's see here. Wait. So this is like a higher resolution model that only goes out 3 days in Japan. So shows like 300 millimeters in some areas, 235 next 3 days. Show like 2 days and 18 hours. And then it shows like some spots of very high accumulation, but this is like a high resolution model, so it might be right, but it also picks up like every drop of rain. So don't fall into this very much, but it does show a lot of rain building around South Korea and Japan there. So be careful, it has almost 190 millimeters. So yeah, be aware. And let's see here again the European for the Philippines there. So next 5 days it doesn't show much there, so show like 99 millimeters, let's see, 82 millimeters, 90 millimeters. some 37 millimeters, so it doesn't have much in the northern Philippines there, but most of the rain will be in the ocean, but some islands could get close to 100, and more scattered showers and storms in the south there, just some isolated scattered storms there, nothing crazy. So let's see. The GFS has more concentrated on the Philippines there, has like 100 millimeters in some areas. It has like the northern Philippines, 200 millimeters in some parts of the northern Philippines, 300 millimeters there. So the GFS is more onto the Philippines. So be careful. Let's see. It's like more than 190 millimeters, like 300 millimeters in southern Taiwan, in China there as well. So be aware in the Philippines, according to the GFS, we don't know exactly what will happen. And the icon's more like the European, showing more over the ocean there. So we'll keep watching this. And let's see. In Indonesia, show like just some scattered showers and storms, some spots of 80 millimeters. Let's see, Malaysia, some 79 millimeters in some areas, just more passing showers and storms, nothing crazy. Some more showers starting the south there already, and let's see, some 86 millimeters in Western Guinea there, southern Philippines, around the Pacific, so like some 46 millimeters in Guam, in Palau, some passing showers and storms from time to time, but nothing crazy. Marshall Islands like 58 millimeters, 77 millimeters, and it's showing a lot in Australia there, but we'll do a more detailed video for Australia later today. So let's see, it shows more in the Indian Ocean there, around the Maldives, some passing showers and storms. Let's see, southwestern Sri Lanka, so be aware there, and please stay safe from this flooding and from the system there in Vietnam and Laos and Thailand. And this mainly it. Bye. Bye now. Wait, let's see if this will have like strong wind gusts. So there's nothing really crazy in terms of wind gusts. So like some 72 km/h gusts occasionally with this storm in Thailand, in Laos and Vietnam, but nothing crazy. Some gusty winds in the southern Bay of Bengal, near southern Vietnam as well, in the South China Sea, and some gusty winds from time to time in the southern islands of Japan there. But as this front organizes in Japan there, the Europeans showing some very strong winds in the Sea of Japan, approaching like western Japan there, like some 81 km/h gusts. And then as it crosses Japan, the winds die down over land, but the winds pick up again in the ocean there. And some areas of eastern Japan could have some high winds as well. So be aware near South Korea too, the marine warnings, and in Japan as well. Might have some higher waves, and it shows that the big system living there. And yeah, so be careful. Some gusty winds near northern China, Mongolia from time to time. And yeah, so stay safe.